Right. This is going to be hopefully not a too lengthy vlog, but I really felt like vlogging. And there's a lot of updates since the last one because I've been in a place where I was like the opposite of a reading slump. I have like 10 things that I want to read at once, and that is not really going to work. So in this vlog, apart from the clips of like what I'm drinking, I will show you the books that I bought because in my country it was like, how do I even call it? A week where every single bookstore has discounts. So I splurged a little bit and got some stuff. I will show you what I got and then I will tell you what I'm reading. And hopefully have some fun because I have a lot of things to talk about because I read or started reading an old favorite. Now, first off, I bought, and this was kind of random, but in one of the stores, they put like an entire wall just for movies and manga. And I've never seen that much manga in my country ever, I guess because in the pandemic everyone started watching anime, they expanded, and I love going there because they have pretty much almost everything. The only thing I've never seen there was Bungo Stray Dogs, but maybe I didn't look hard enough. So I picked up something that I just finished a rewatch of, so I wanted to actually get to reading it, and that is Noragami Volume 11. Now, I picked up the manga from where the anime leaves off because I like doing that. I like doing that. Eventually, when I pick up all the volumes, I will actually reread it from the beginning. But I was going to read the manga of Noragami after the first rewatch of the show. I mean, the first watch of the show. I just never did, and now I wanted to refresh my knowledge, and I loved it so much more this time that I picked up the manga. There's like 2 chapters before this I read online to catch up, but this is the first full volume where the the anime left off. Even though, spoiler, a lot of the events in this volume are actually from the season 2 OVAs. But I loved it. I loved it. And one thing has to be said, and that is I didn't know that 2 women made Noragami. I think this is the first time that a manga anime I read or watch was made by women. And honestly, icons. I should have known from the beginning because I have never ever since I started watching anime shipped 2 characters as much as I do the romance in this, and never has a female character been my favorite of all of them. It is here. Like, Hiyori is by far my favorite character, and I love all of the women. So I should have known. I suppose I should have known. But one thing that I wasn't aware of is how pretty the art style is. Like, not a lot of manga have a pretty art style, but Noragami does. It has that crisp drawing style that I was used to from Sui Ishida, because not a lot of mangas have that kind of style. Like, I am willing to read a lot of stuff. I mean, I read Bungo Stray Dogs, I read some Jujutsu Kaisen, I was reading Attack on Titan. No one came close to Sui Ishida. They did. Like, they did. I know one woman draws, the other writes, or maybe they do both together. But I was astounded by how pretty the drawings were, and the more I read, the prettier they are. Just for reference, I bought this a couple of days ago, and now I just finished volume 20 last night. This is volume 11. I think there's like 24 out right now, and then the couple chapters. I'm not sure. But I bought volume 11, continued reading for like 2 whole nights. I am now on volume 21. So I've been reading a lot of Noragami and honestly loving it. The only thing that I have to say about it, like, I will get into all of this in the wrap up. The only thing I have to say about it is, even though I love the plot, the dynamics, the drawing, everything, they have a bit of a weird pacing. Like, with a lot of anime and manga, I've gotten used to if it's depressing or happy or a combination of both. But they have a weird combination of both. I feel like a large event will happen where, like, your heart is pounding and you have no idea what's going to happen. And then the next volume or 2 are just them chilling or going around and goofing off. So it's a bit of a, like, their highs and lows are very, very different. So it's a bit of a strange pace to get used to. You get like several volumes of an epic fight, and then they just, I don't know, go shopping or something. So that was a bit weird, but you heard it here first. Noragami is quickly becoming one of my favorites, which I didn't expect it to when I first watched it. Like, I enjoyed it, but not that much. But the fact that I wanted to rewatch it and read the manga means that it was already one of my favorites, because I did not do that for all of the anime that I watched. I'll just show you all the books that I bought because I didn't read all of them yet. I bought the next Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. It's called Big Shot. I buy these every single year, especially because I realized that this is now the 10th one that I bought, which means that I started collecting them when I was 10. It's just a ritual thing. I think I'm collecting them because it's a nostalgia thing. Like, every year I get to look forward to one of these, read them, have fun for a little bit, and put them on the shelf. I feel like I'm almost connected to my 10-year-old self by buying them every year, and I look forward to them every single year. This is now part 16, and the last one the first one that I caught up to was 6. I remember waiting for number 7, so I reread Cabin Fever like so many times. That was always my favorite. So now it's officially been 10 years that I've been collecting this, and yes, I read it, I enjoyed it. It's a formula that can never fail because he knows exactly what he's good at, and I will always have fun with it. Like, I think it's an excellent children's book, and there's a reason why I enjoyed it and why I continue to enjoy it. Now, the next 2 books, obviously I didn't read because I'm not even sure how you can, like, say that you've read these because you picked them up when you're in the mood for it. And we went to the bookstore last night and we picked up the selected poems of Emily Dickinson. I love these editions. I think it's Wordsworth Poetry Library because the covers are very pretty and they are floppy paperbacks. Like, this is a very good floppy paperback, and it was extremely cheap. I wanted some poetry and I was very happy with the price, especially because it was discounted. So I got Emily Dickinson and I got Alfred Tennyson. I'm not sure if Lord is his name, but I also love the cover of this one, the nature and everything. It's also extremely floppy, but I think Tennyson wasn't just poetry. I think there's more than poetry in here. But I love these editions. I read some Emily Dickinson last night. I love Emily Dickinson, and I enjoy Tennyson, but I didn't really know what to look for when I opened him. So, like, my parents more wanted Tennyson, I wanted Emily Dickinson. But they're very pretty editions. They were very cheap, and I will just flip through them from time to time. Maybe read some of the nature poems because I love nature poems. So this was a very, very cool find. And the next 2 are a bit of a reluctant buy, but I got this, The Book of Dragons. It's very thick. It is not a floppy paperback. It's a stiff one, and it's almost 600 pages. Like, I despise that. But I remember seeing this, and I didn't want to buy it. But now that it was discounted, I wanted to buy it. It has a gorgeous cover. The issue is, I read like 2 of the stories. It's like a collection of short stories about dragons written by a lot of famous authors. I think it's like 29-ish stories. 29 exactly, probably. The problem is that the 2 stories I read are not fantasy at all. It's just not even dragons. It's humans who are dragons in our world. And I despise nothing more than urban fantasy. Like, not all of urban fantasy, obviously. I don't have a grudge against the genre. But when I buy a book of dragons with a cover that looks like this, I expect to have short stories about dragons and mythical worlds and maybe mountains. Not dragons who are paying taxes and having to deal with lawsuits. I read 2 of them so far. I had to skip through some because immediately I saw the word Walmart and I skipped the story entirely. Like, the next one that I want to read is by R.F. Kuang, which I've not read anything by her yet, but I hope she will put some mythology into it, not just pretend like she did. There's another one by Scott Lynch. I really want to read that one too. But I'm hoping that at least half of them will actually be made up worlds and not just dragons flying over the Empire State Building as they forgot to pay off their insurance. So I hope that at least half of this will be about mythical dragons. But the great thing about short stories is that you can skip around and you're not required to read the whole thing. So we will give this a thorough try because it wasn't that cheap. Like, these two poetry books didn't even come close to this price when put together. And the last book that I bought might make some people happy, but I want to talk about it in this vlog. It will be a separate video because if I like it, it'll be a shock, and if I don't, it'll be a rant. The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is just part 1. I never planned to buy part 2 because this is 600 pages. If I do not like these 600 pages, I will have just wasted my money, and these are definitely not cheap. So I will make a separate vlog where I give Sanderson literally his last shot, because as you might know if you watch any of my videos, I don't like him or his writing. But to be fair, the only book of his that I actually read was Mistborn. I didn't even finish that. So I decided to give this one last try, like his writing as a whole, because people who accept that you might not like Mistborn say that this is his best work. Like, if you're ever going to like Sanderson, this is the way to go. This is his best work. He put the most effort into it. So if I don't like this, then I will never, ever try Sanderson again. But I want to at least attempt being fair and giving this a try. I'm not sure how it will go, because if he makes a mistake, I'm sure I will be angrier about it than I would usually because I already dislike him. But I really, really will do my best to give him a chance, a fair chance, and read it as if I'd never read him before and I don't already have an established opinion of him. So I will give this a try. This will be a separate video, so look forward to that if you're someone who likes Sanderson, but I can't promise that it will be fun for you if you like Sanderson. Don't get me wrong, if I like it, I will be honest about it, and I will sell this copy and buy the really pretty big paperbacks with the illustrations. I honestly, if I liked it, that would be excellent because then I would have thousands and thousands of pages to read. But if I didn't, I will definitely rant about it. So don't get me wrong, I would love to love it, but my experience with him has been less than pleasant. Something that I am really, really happy that I get to talk about. I am reading currently Asimov. Like, I read another Tess Gerritsen thriller. I started the Book of Dragons. I'm reading Noragami. I'm reading a lot of stuff at once. I want to start The Dragon Reborn. I have a lot of stuff that I want to read, but the thing that's been nagging me for a while now is Earthsea. This is a very hard book to hold up, so I will just do it like this. I've been wanting to go back to her for so long because even though Tehanu left a terrible, bitter taste in my mouth, the love that I had for her writing and her world just kept nagging at me. I was looking at this book on my shelf and I was like, there's so much more you have to read in this compendium. Like, just forget about Tehanu, give it another try. You know you miss her. Like, you've been longingly gazing at this book on the shelf. So I just decided to pick it back up and give it another go. And I'm so happy that I did, because I started the Tales of Earthsea. That's the next thing after Tehanu. I think these are all in chronological order. And the first story, this is also short stories. I'm reading a lot of short stories. The Finder, I fell back in love with her. And I realized why it was that Tehanu hurt me so much, because I loved her to bits. I love her writing, the way she describes things, the way she writes characters and magic, and how she sets the atmosphere, her entire world, like just the feeling of her brings me comfort. A lot of books that I love aren't comforting. They're just familiar in a way that suits me, like The Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, Winter Night. But this, for me, is like the book equivalent of Studio Ghibli. Because if her book is like the first trilogy, not like Tehanu, I already know what I'm in for. I know that I want to hear what she has to say. I know that I want to travel the aisles with her. I know that I want to listen to her words of magic. I know that I want to see the dragons with her. I want her to take me on a ride, and I know I will get it. And that is exactly what I got from the Finder. And I loved it so much. I just finished it like an hour ago. I have, I think, 4 more stories in the Tales of Earthsea, and then it's a couple more short books, and I'm done with the compendium. Like, I'm done with Earthsea. This came out, I think, the year that she died. I think this like entire thing came out. I love how illustrated it is, like how it has illustrations in the stories and everything. Like, I love this entire edition. But I have been wanting to read more of Earthsea for weeks now, I think, maybe even months, but I kept like just pushing it away. I finally gave in, and I'm very, very happy that I did, because I realized that I missed her so much. I was going to start Sanderson today and like The Dragon Reborn last week, but they're gonna have to wait because me and Ursula are gonna hang out for a little bit again.
Or professional of any kind, really.
Well, then you have to keep it going, because if you're going to wait till they grow up, it's going to be hard to step back into your own life.
It's very hard. But there again, my mother apparently did not wait to be a writer and didn't sit around itching and fretting. Mm-hmm. But as soon as she got rid of all of us, and we were all off raising our own families, she sort of settled down and started writing, and published one book, and then her second book, Ishi, was, of course...
Hello, afternoon. It is the time for an actual update in this video. Now, the beginning of this vlog was filmed, I don't even want to know how many months ago. That was just an update on what books I had bought, and you already saw those books, but this is like just a clip of when I bought them. But now we are back to the present, and this is my last day before I have to study again. So I thought I would update you on what I've actually read. Again, no details, no spoilers. This isn't a spoiler vlog, and this isn't a wrap up. So I finished Labyrinth of Evil. I'm still not sure how many days ago. I don't feel like checking Goodreads. This is supposed to be casual anyway. But this broke me a little bit because I didn't remember most of it. So as you can see, I tabbed. You can't see. I tabbed it again because I wanted to remember some of the lines I had forgotten that literally just tore through me. But if you didn't know, this is the first part of the Revenge of the Sith trilogy, and this was written by James Luceno, just like the third book. The middle one was made by Matthew Stover, but they sort of worked together on this. Now, this one is exactly what happens before Revenge of the Sith, and if you've watched the Clone Wars, I don't even want to talk about this. So basically it's about Anakin and Obi-Wan, but there's also a lot of stuff about Mace, Yoda, and the Jedi hunting down Sidious. This is actually kind of action-packed. There's not that much downtime or where they just sit and talk. There's a lot of action, but I still think it's really worth reading because it adds a little bit of depth to the characters and their position in the Clone Wars without, I don't know how to say, without spoiling about the show, because this was written in 2004, which was the year before Revenge of the Sith even came out. So, loved this. It was really good. Took me a little bit to read it because usually with Star Wars books, when I take a break, but I finally finished it. Next up, we have Anne of Avonlea, which I started reading when I was coming back from my exam last week. So I started reading this. I don't think I read that much. It's like 4 chapters, so I haven't really read that much of this, but I'm taking this one slow anyway because it's just soothing to me. I don't really need to read it quickly. I already know what happens. And then lastly, I finally picked up The Dragon Reborn because I read Great Hunt months ago. This reread has taken a while, but I'm finally out of the slump that the show put me in, and I am able to actually read this without gagging. That's a little bit dramatic, but anyway, read 100 pages. I am in love with it again. I forgot finally forgot what everyone in the show looks like, so I can read this normally again. And I didn't read now for like a week, but every time I sit down and read this, it goes by very quickly, so that's definitely a plus. And if you're reading The Wheel of Time now, I'm always up to talking about it, so here I am. I'm hoping to finish Dragon Reborn by the end of February and then continue on, maybe a book a month. We'll see how I'm feeling, but I'm always tabbing this, so it's only started, but these books are chunkers anyway. Like the shortest of these is probably like 600 pages. So this is kind of the update on reading. Now I will do some writing, and I think I might end the vlog here. Like, I usually like ending vlogs with just me writing because I don't know, I find that sort of relaxing. But obviously I don't know if I will add anything else. You will. In any case, bye for now, or bye for the entire video. I don't know. If it's goodbye, I'll see you in the next one. And if it's not, I will see you later.